Senator the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Franka Costelloe, Chairman InvesTT, Ms. Allyson, Services Specialist at Caribbean Export, Mr. Sekou Allen, President InvesTT, members of the media, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the official launch of the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum. I am Stacey Adams, Vice President of Investor Services at InvesTT and the moderator for this morning's launch. We have a short agenda with a lot of information that should be of great interest to you. However, before we begin, I'd like to outline some protocols. Please keep your microphones muted until we get to the question and answer session. Ensure that your name is clearly identifiable on the participants list. During the Q&A, you can click on the raise hand button and you will be invited to speak. Before you speak, please identify yourself and the media house you represent. I'd now like to introduce our first speaker, Senator the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, Minister of Trade and Industry. Senator Gopee-Scoon, of course, is no stranger to the media, but I'd like to highlight the continuous efforts to build upon and expand programs which improve the export capacity of local manufacturing sector. She leads the charge towards stimulating domestic and foreign investments while implementing policies to enhance the global competitiveness of Trinidad and Tobago. The work of InvesTT in this regard falls directly under her purview. Minister, thank you very much for coming, and we're always grateful for your support. I invite you now to address the launch.
Thank you. Let me acknowledge Ms. Franka Costelloe, Chair of InvesTT, Ms. Allyson Francis, Service Specialist and Manager at Caribbean Export, Mr. Sekou Allen, the President of InvesTT, Stacey Adams, Vice President, Investor Services at InvesTT, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen all, and good morning. And I welcome this opportunity to address you at today's formal launch of Trinidad and Tobago's Virtual Investment Forum. And this is indeed a momentous and timely initiative that the government is pleased to support. And let me take this opportunity to recognize the event coordinators, which is Caribbean Export Development Agency, CEDA, and InvesTT. Notwithstanding the challenges of the pandemic, Trinidad and Tobago stands ready to forge ahead and differentiate itself from our Latin American and Caribbean neighbors as a top investment destination in the region. The government remains committed to creating avenues to attract commercially viable investments, local and foreign, that will positively impact our social, our economic, and environmental development. As in any other open free market economy, our role as a government is to facilitate trade, investment, and commercial transactions to create the enabling environment for business and the regulatory framework to support trade and investment. This type of program is certainly one that is needed now as we enter our recovery period in a post-pandemic era. Moreover, the objectives of the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum are directly aligned to Pillar 1 of the Phase 2 Roadmap to Recovery Report for Trinidad and Tobago, as we seek to diversify and transform the economy. The initiative falls squarely into our efforts to move the country from being energy dependent into one that generates revenues and foreign exchange from a broader range of sectors and a wider portfolio of products. It is no unknown fact that COVID-19 has disrupted much of the world's economy and provoked a decline of global investment by as much as 42% during 2020 to 2021. However, according to FDI intelligence reports, the disruption forces, combined with a cyclical comeback for sectors heavily battered by the crisis, tourism, for example, have already triggered a new investment cycle. And the impact of the pandemic has created fertile ground for the emergence of new ideas and a reconfiguring of the old ones. Such paradigm shifts are expected to drive new investments in the near future in areas such as renewable energy, communications, software and IT services, consumer product manufacturing, and biotechnology. The question now is, where will new investment go and how will it be geographically distributed? Caribbean countries are competing for the same share of investment from top source nations such as Western Europe, China, and the USA, and we all have similar island economies and assets. However, part of the role of InvesTT as a national investment promotion agency is to market Trinidad and Tobago's competitive advantages and investment offerings so that we stand out from the general crowd of investment seekers. And this is what I expect InvesTT to undertake at the Investment Forum. They will be promoting our key attributes, some of which are low energy costs, nearshoring advantages, capacity for business continuity due to our geographic location below the hurricane belt, as well as our physical and digital infrastructure. Our ultimate objective is to secure a reasonable share of new global investment. We want to be positioned on the short list of ideal locations to do business with a value proposition so compelling that the investor is inclined to go nowhere else but to Trinidad and Tobago to establish or expand operations. The Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum will showcase the country's competitive advantages and the investment opportunities available within targeted sectors such as manufacturing, renewable and sustainable energy, maritime and logistics, business process outsourcing, hotel and resource development, and agro-technology. And despite the economic fallouts caused by the pandemic, there is still a lot of good news to promote to our selected business audience. Our investment climate remains attractive and highly competitive for the investor. Ladies and gentlemen, given our dynamic economy and history of resilience in difficult times, I am confident that we can prevail over any difficult circumstances. Trinidad and Tobago remains open for new and increased investment as government continues to implement strategies to rebuild the national economy. Our borders have reopened to the traveling public, which means that site visits can be facilitated by InvesTT for investors who comply with the required pandemic protocols. And through the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum, we expect to see our number of prospects increase, and we look forward to partnering with them to create a more sustainable and diversified economy. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. I'd now like to introduce our second speaker, Ms. Franka Costelloe, who was appointed Chairman of the Board of InvesTT in August 2021 and brings more than 15 years of executive management experience in strategic planning, business development, investment analysis, and operational negotiations. As the immediate past president of the TTMA, Ms. Costelloe is recognized for her deep commitment to national development. She's a strong advocate for investment in MSMEs and encourages public and private sector support for entrepreneurial initiatives as an important solution to the diversification challenge for Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Costelloe.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Senator Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Allyson Francis, Manager and Service Specialist at CEDA, Mr. Sekou Allen, President of InvesTT, Ms. Stacey Adams, Vice President, Investor Services, InvesTT, members of the board of InvesTT, specially invited guests, and members of the media. I am truly honored to be here today to undertake the first public task in my new role and capacity as chairman of the board of InvesTT, and that is to launch the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum scheduled for November 2nd to the 3rd of 2021. I personally regard the Investment Forum to be a timely intervention that will take place just as the country begins to stay its way out of the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. And as we navigate our way towards a brighter future post-COVID-19, this forum aims to generate 350 registrants, as well as 10 B2B meetings or investment leads, in order to significantly contribute to the 2022 fiscal year target of 50 million foreign direct investments and 180 million of local direct investment. It promises to be one of the contributing beacons that will drive the growth and recovery of key sectors in the ensuing years. At InvesTT, we are particularly proud to be co-hosting the virtual forum with the Caribbean Export Development Agency under the stewardship of Mr. Deodat Maharaj. And we acknowledge the agency's corporate strength as a regional trade and investment promotion agency and the strides that they have been taking towards the transformation of Caribbean economies. Through this forum, we will work together to generate investment leads, which have the potential to improve job creation and build strong and sustainable industries in Trinidad and Tobago. As a partner, there's a lot that we expect to gain from CEDA through the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, which is supported by CEDA. We have established a working group, and it is inclusive of an event promotion and a lead generation consultant that will be overseeing all aspects of the forum's event planning. InvesTT's mission is to attract, facilitate, and retain foreign and local investment in Trinidad and Tobago, and we take our mandate quite seriously. Notably, between 2016 and 2020, we have secured 17 investment projects with a generated capital expenditure of 526 million. And this translates into over 1,400 local jobs created during this period. Our FDI lead pipeline to meet next year's 50 million target is healthy due to the consistent employment of focused targeting and marketing techniques. Global lockdowns and travel restrictions have not deterred us, but in fact provided the impetus for the opportunity to apply more creative methods to reach our targets. For example, virtual meetings and webinars have replaced many of the site visits that we have taken on during this year, both inward and outward. Video tours have replaced actual visits to the industrial parks we promote, and forums such as the upcoming Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum will continue to add to the momentum already established in our investment promotion. Such successes and the ability to adapt and pivot comes with great determination from our most valuable resource, our InvesTT team. And it would be remiss of me not to commend the president of InvesTT and the entire InvesTT team for working assiduously through this fiscal. The stamina demonstrated by the staff, who no doubt have been facing personal and professional challenges caused by the pandemic, is beyond words. Our biggest reward is to see the impact of our efforts on the growth of our industries. This is what builds national pride amongst our small team of 19. The Minister of Trade and Industry has been recognized as steadfast for industry growth and places InvesTT high on her agenda as a catalyst for economic development. Local investors. We seek to assist you in expanding your existing operations and entering into new investment projects. In every crisis, there is opportunity, as we witness the birth of many new investments. Astute business leaders are diversifying their portfolios by setting up new businesses, taking advantage of subsidies, grants, and tax havens offered by the government in specific sectors. This is a call to not only foreign, but also local investors to invest in TNT and work with InvesTT to ensure you have every advantage available to you. The ultimate aim of our investor care aftercare function is to maximize the contribution of investors to local development, enhance customer satisfaction, and encourage repeat business by tenured investors. Barring the impact of the pandemic, this year, in fact, is projected to be our biggest annual success to date. Estimated at 265 million against a 135 million target, with 9 investments generating 850 jobs. Our country is inherently well positioned for success. We have access to a regional and Latin American population of 696 million, while protected from hurricanes and other natural disasters. TNT's investment climate is attractive and competitive for the savvy investor, with low industrial electricity costs at 5 US cents per kilowatt, available industrial real estate in close proximity of the Port of Point Lisas and the airport for rates as low as $3 US per square meter per annum. Commercial and industrial water rates at 52 US cents per cubic meter per month. Fiscal incentives which offer exemptions from customs duties, value-added tax, and income tax on dividends. Exemptions from customs duties and the imports of raw materials, machinery, and equipment. 5-year tax reliefs for approved small companies. Tax allowances for promotional expenses, and tourism incentives which offer 7-year corporate tax exemptions on profits. Success for us at the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum will mean a series of short-term and long-term outcomes. In the short term, we are seeking foreign investments of up to $15 million for the financial year in 2022, with a goal of 1,500 permanent jobs generated from such, and local investments in Trinidad and Tobago totaling $180 million. In the medium term, we're increasing facilitation of requests for specific industries in manufacturing, logistics and distribution, business processes and outsourcing, ICT, maritime industrial activities, renewable energy, agro-processing, financial technology, and hotel and resort development. In the long term, we seek to increase the awareness of Trinidad and Tobago as an ideal investment destination above all. An improved ease of doing business ranking related to construction permits and registering properties, paying taxes, and trading across borders. Ultimately, increasing the country's foreign exchange earning capacity. In its presentation, Mr. Sekou Allen, President of InvesTT, will continue to provide the details of the forum and its planned format and content. Suffice it for me to say, this is an excellent way to end one fiscal year and begin the next. And I look forward to the successful outcome of the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum in November. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thanks for that overview of what was, in fact, a challenging year, but a very rewarding one. And also to speaking to what we can look forward to given to what's already in our pipeline. I would like to move on to our next speaker, Ms. Allyson Francis, Services Specialist at the Caribbean Export Development Agency. Ms. Francis' main task at CEDA, of course, is to address services sector development. And this includes the cultural and creative industries, education, spa and wellness, professional services, ICT and financial services. Ms. Francis has worked at both the public and private sector levels on development issues and has a wealth of knowledge on international trade issues. She has developed and implemented several projects with the private sector, particularly the coalitions and other BSOs on services sector development. Over to you, Ms. Francis.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Senator the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Franka Costelloe, Chairman InvesTT, Mr. Sekou Allen, President InvesTT, Ms. Stacey Adams, Vice President Invest Services, InvesTT, special invited guests, media, ladies and gentlemen joining us online. It's a pleasure for me to represent the Caribbean Export Development Agency today as a key partner of the hosting of the virtual Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum. I apologize for the absence of our Executive Director, Mr. Deodat Maharaj, who intended to participate in this press briefing, but unfortunately has had to attend some other pressing matters. By our being present today for this press briefing, Caribbean Export demonstrates our commitment to InvesTT and most importantly, to Trinidad and Tobago as your partner in development. Caribbean Export was given the mandate by the CARIFORUM Council of Ministers for Investment Promotion in 2007. Many of you may be aware that our agency is a regional trade and investment promotion agency for CARIFORUM. We offer support to Caribbean firms seeking to enter overseas market with their goods and services. And we also offer support to investment promotion agencies seeking to attract international and domestic investment. With regard to the latter, One of the ways we do this is through the provision of support for the hosting of investment forums similar to this one. Funding for the work of the agency is provided by the European Union under the 11th European Development Fund Regional Private Sector Development Program. So we extend a very special thanks to our partner, the European Union, for its continued support of these development initiatives in the Caribbean. As agency implements its strategic plan 2021 to 2024, building business, transforming lives for a resilient Caribbean, one of its strategic pillars is strengthened capacities in Caribbean investment promotion agencies to facilitate investments, and as such, actions as these will facilitate achieving this goal. So far this year, we have offered support in the hosting of virtual investment forums to the Corporate Republic of Guyana, Aruba, and we have plans to offer support to Belize as well this year in this area. Our assistance has included the promotion of events through global networks, the provision of technical advice in the planning and execution of the events, support for contracting of experts to identify potential investors, and social media promoters who have an expertise in location marketing. Caribbean Export is also the Secretariat of the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, CIPA, and the members supported by CIPA include 23 investment promotion agencies or IPAs like InvesTT from 23 Caribbean territories. These include the 15 CARIFORUM countries and 8 overseas countries and territories of the British and Dutch. As part of our work with CIPA, we seek to provide capacity building in investment attraction to the IPAs, conduct research and data gathering that supports execution of the mandates of our investment promotion agencies, policy advocacy for improved Caribbean business climate, regional branding of the Caribbean as a destination of choice for investment, and execution of international marketing initiatives, including missions to target countries. In the context of the COVID, the hosting of virtual missions through online forums such as this one has become very popular. As a direct result of this event, we are expecting the potential investors will turn their attention to Trinidad and Tobago, better understand the country's investment offerings, engage with InvesTT, and undertake business, bringing their investment to this beautiful Twin Island state. We are very optimistic that these goals will be achieved under the able management of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and InvesTT. But we want to issue a word of caution. Investment will not be realized simply because this event has taken place. The forum is only the beginning of the work. Within the Caribbean, it often takes 2 to 3 years before investment projects are actually realized. And it takes commitment and significant follow-up by agencies such as InvesTT and the ministry to continue to liaise with potential investors long after the forum has ended. Attracting investment, particularly now during the pandemic, where investors are increasingly risk-averse, is challenging, but not impossible. I applaud the Ministry of Trade and Industry and InvesTT for understanding that it is even more important than before to be proactive, to position the country for investment, and to draw attention to the many investment offerings. Caribbean Export is here to support Trinidad and Tobago before the forum, during the forum, and even after the forum. And we know that under the able management of InvesTT and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, we will see the results of this event in the form of realized investment projects that bring much needed foreign investment, transfer of technology, and create jobs. Caribbean Export is very pleased, and I want to thank you for this opportunity and look forward to continue supporting InvesTT and the rest of the region as we seek to attract investment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Francis. We're always very grateful for CEDA support. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you and the team to make this a reality and a success. So thank you. We now move on to our next speaker, Mr. Sekou Allen, President of InvesTT, who will share a presentation on the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum. Sekou has been the president of InvesTT since September 2020. However, he has performed various management and executive management roles at the agency since its inception in 2011. In his current role as president, his primary focus is to strategically improve the visibility of Trinidad and Tobago as an investment destination of choice, and to improve the ranking of InvesTT as it carries out its mandate to attract new investments. Over to you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adams. Senator, the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Franka Costelloe, Chairman, InvesTT, Ms. Allyson Francis, Manager and Service Specialist at the Caribbean Export Development Agency, of course, our moderator, Ms. Stacey Adams, Vice President, Investor Services at InvesTT, members of the Board of InvesTT, members of the media, good morning and welcome. I'm very happy and excited to be here today to tell you more about the TNT Virtual Investment Forum that will be held on November 2nd and 3rd, and I will be taking you through a short presentation to give you more specifics on the back of the Minister and the Chairman who would have shared the overall intent for the event for InvesTT and for Trinidad and Tobago. As you will see under the investment forum on our first screen, we are really looking at positioning Trinidad and Tobago as that shortlist location for business investment in this region. As the Minister has said, we have seen a fall off in FDI due to the pandemic. However, there is a new investment cycle. Investments are happening, and investors that are currently seeking projects in this region must understand and must be aware of Trinidad and Tobago as a location for investment in the specific areas within which they can best benefit from investing in this region and of course in Trinidad and Tobago. So very quickly, I will take you through the specific objectives of the agenda, some of which has been mentioned already, the schedule and the overall flow of events, some of the responsibilities and the partnership that InvesTT has with CEDA, the international consultants we'll be working with in order to make the event a success, the stakeholders that we work with locally that are an important part of us collating and presenting the best investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, of course, the real estate and the available industrial infrastructure investors will have access to, and how we're continuing to prepare for the forum as it proceeds. So in terms of our objectives and focus, we are looking at a minimum of 350 registrants to participate in the forum that will specifically deliver 10 qualified leads identified as or defined as those who have been evaluated as a person or a firm with the ability to invest and who fits the profile as one who has that intention to invest and the ability to do so within the sectors and the opportunities that we are focused on. So as was mentioned earlier, the forum is really a vehicle through which we can generate those investment leads through ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago is positioned to capture investors that are looking at projects in the region. And so out of those 10 minimum qualified leads, our chairman earlier spoke about the 15 million TT dollar target. We are expecting that we will be able to generate A-list prospects, those who we can expect a commitment within a fiscal year, and some B-list prospects, those who we expect we would be able to generate investment in within a 2 or 3 year period thereafter, for an investment being sometimes a long sales cycle as we have seen. And so we have very specific objectives and a focus to deliver not just the forum, but the investments out of it that will add to InvesTT's mandate and its key performance objectives. So day one of the forum, on November 2nd, will be held just over 3 hours from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. And the forum has been set up across 2 days to ensure that busy decision makers have the opportunity to attend the sessions that they are most interested in, and also have the opportunity to spend part of their day doing the things that they would require. So this is one of the reasons that we decided to set it over a 2-day period, the first day being the first 3 hours of the morning that will allow us to target investors within our time zones, as well as investors in Europe and beyond that are in the later time zones that then can log in the afternoon within their time. Our first day will, of course, feature our Minister of Trade and Industry, Senator, the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon. However, we'll also be hearing from our Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Senator, the Honourable Amory Brown. With those feature addresses, we will also be looking at having remarks from our key stakeholders, of course, one being the Caribbean Export Development Agency, as well as the EU representation in Trinidad and Tobago. Further to that, we will then be leading investors through a virtual investment tour of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as and supported by a panel discussion where key leading decision makers in Trinidad and Tobago, representatives of investors and investments that have already been made, will have a panel discussion on their experience with doing business, entering Trinidad and Tobago, and expanding within the market. And so that panel discussion is really meant to attract participants who really want to hear directly from the investors that have benefited from doing business in Trinidad and Tobago, and lends more credibility to Trinidad and Tobago as an investment destination. We will then be presenting on the specific investment opportunities that investors can take advantage of, and some of the incentives investors can access in taking advantage of those opportunities. So the first day is really meant to provide an overarching experience for those who have not experienced Trinidad and Tobago just yet, so that they can really then choose their access and their participation in the second day of the event, again held across the morning period from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., where there will be opening remarks, as well as investors will have the opportunity to attend breakout sessions within the sectors of their interest. And so investors, as they register for the events, can choose which breakout sessions they will be involved in. And we will have presentations from our stakeholders, some of whom are with us today, that will be taking investors through information on specifics on manufacturing, logistics, and distribution, and some of the other areas that have been mentioned in the presentation so far and that are covered here. And so we expect on this second day, investors will be able to get as specific information as they require. And those leads that have been generated prior to the event, investors will be able to set up meetings, one-on-one meetings with InvesTT and with representatives of the stakeholder groups that are supporting us on this project. And so the expectation is across the 2 days, investors will have the ability to, one, understand the overarching investment environment and the benefits of doing business in Trinidad and Tobago, and the specifics of the sectors of their interest that would lead them to look at and pursue more specific discussions with InvesTT and the stakeholders that we will have supporting us on the project. InvesTT is very happy to partner with CEDA, CEDA being responsible for and very important to the project, the procurement and management of the consultants that will be helping us deliver on the registration, the participation, and the investor leads at the conference, as well as the conference platform that is so important as part of a virtual event. InvesTT, as the project manager on the Trinidad and Tobago side, will be coordinating with our stakeholders, much of which we have started already. Of course, managing the event, the promotion, and the lead generation consultant, creating the collateral and developing the collateral that will be distributed prior to, during, and after the event, engaging our foreign missions that will be so important in promoting the event in their jurisdictions, and really ensuring that the event achieves all of the objectives that I have outlined earlier on in the presentation. Just a little bit more on the consultants that we will be working with to ensure that this event is a success. Conway Data, which founded in 1954, is a large-scale, full-service firm in the economic development and the investment promotion arena. InvesTT has done work with Conway in the past and have found them to always be assiduous and deliver very deliberate and specific work around supporting economic development and investment promotion. They also have been a premier firm in driving virtual events, particularly during the pandemic. And so we'll be working very closely with them to ensure that, one, that the agenda, the featured speakers, and the overall theme of the event is set up in a way such that we are able to attract the right participants to the event, and that they will be able to get the information they require within the event to pursue more specific discussions thereafter. And of course, Conway has a long history of helping generate corporate investment projects and jobs for investment promotion agencies and economic development agencies, particularly in the Latin American and the Caribbean region. The second consultant that we'll be working with is WAFTech, who again is well known and well renowned for the generation of investment leads within 4 economic development agencies and investment promotion agencies. And so their track record, as you would see on the right side of the screen, has been very strong in being able to take investment opportunities, collate them into the manner that investors and decision makers look at them, and be able to generate investment leads. And so we expect that Conway, working with WAVTech, driven by InvesTT and CEDA, are really going to help us not just deliver a successful event, but deliver the investment leads and the investments thereafter. That is really the overall objective for the event. We must recognize the stakeholders that we've been working very closely with and will continue to work with through the participation and preparation for the event, as well as participation in the event itself. Trinidad Tourism Limited, the National Energy Corporation, Maritime Services Division, NAMDEVCO, iGovTT, Tobago Tourism Agency, and the TTIFC, and others that we've been working with, of course, to ensure that we provide a overarching view of the investment environment in Trinidad and Tobago outside of the energy industry, and we continue to look forward to working with these stakeholders. Of course, investors do require access to real estate opportunities and industrial space within their requirements, and so InvesTT is going to be working very closely with the stakeholders also involved with the development of these industrial estates, primarily, of course, the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate, the Moruga Agro-Industrial Park, and the Tamina Intech Park, which InvesTT works very closely with our sister agency, the Evolving Technologies Enterprise Company Limited, to develop and promote and tenant those parks. But we'll also be working very closely with the University of Trinidad and Tobago, the Airport Authority of Trinidad and Tobago with the Piarco Aero Park, and further on to our sister agency in Tobago, Cove Eco Industrial Estate, as well as other estates. So our role here really is to tie together the investment opportunities alongside the real estate opportunities that investors can take advantage of in the short and the medium term to drive those A and B list leads that will eventually drive the investment targets that InvesTT is looking to deliver on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, in terms of our event preparation, we are very advanced in our collaboration with CEDA and InvesTT. We work together on a weekly basis across multiple platforms to be able to, support the platform for the event, generate the awareness, as well as working with the consultants on the event. As I mentioned earlier, Conway focused on the registration targets, as well as focusing on curating that agenda to ensure that it is as valuable as possible to those that would participate in the event, and WAVTech collating the data required to generate the 10 business-to-business meetings, as well as the leads to be generated around the event itself. We'll continue to work with our stakeholders to curate the data that we have to ensure that their participation is as valuable as possible in working with InvesTT. And of course, very strong marketing and awareness to be delivered over the course of the next month or so to ensure that we get minimum of 350 targets participants, but really we would like a lot more to be able to deliver on the targets we have. And of course, our foreign missions will be playing a very strong role for us in their jurisdictions, particularly the ones in the diaspora markets, that will ensure that those that are looking at investment projects, considering investing in this region, are aware of the forum and attend and are able to get all the information they require and continued follow-up with InvesTT. And so we do expect this to be a strong and successful event, and we look forward to working with all the stakeholders involved. And of course, we'd love to thank the Minister of Trade and Industry, as well as the Board of Directors of InvesTT for supporting us with this project as we move into a very key stage in the promotion of the event and the delivery of the event's targets. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. Review of the structure of the investment forum that we're planning, as well as, I think more importantly, the outcomes that we hope to achieve coming out of it. Yeah. So as we move on to members of the media, I'm sure that by now you have some questions about the forum that we're planning and the information you'd have just seen. We'll move quickly into the Q&A session, and may I remind you to raise your hand, and when called, you may unmute your microphone and identify yourself and the media house you represent. I see first up here we have Alicia Boucher from TV6.
Hi, good morning. Yes, Alyssa Boucher from TV6 here. I just wanted to find out, seeing that this initiative has been launched today, when does registration actually start? And in terms of the cost to register, if there's a cost for each registrant.
If I can, Alicia, thanks for the question. The event landing page will be set up by early next week, and registrations will begin at that point. And there will be no cost for attendance and participation in the event. It will be free of cost.
Okay, thank you. Clint Tuck.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Right.
House you represent?
Morning. How are you? Clint Chantak at Newsday.
Thank you.
What I wanted to find out is, well, given all the objectives that we're talking about here for this forum, how exactly are things proceeding? Well, I mean, first of all, I wanted to ask, how do you see small and medium enterprises benefiting from this particular forum, particularly local ones, because they were some of the entities that have been hardest hit by the pandemic? That's my first question. And secondly, where do things stand in terms of doing the other logistics that would attract both local and foreign investors, such as the ease of doing business and the various elements of that?
Mr. Allen, do you want to take the first?
I'll take the if I can take the first one. So we do see SMEs benefiting in being made aware of all the investment opportunities that we are presenting at the event. Some of those SMEs are already working in those particular sectors and industries and would be aware of some of the opportunities, but there may be information that they're not aware of, particularly in the incentive area, that they can access to support their investment projects. As well, there will be potential joint venture opportunities and supply chain opportunities with the foreign investors that are looking at Trinidad and Tobago, where these SMEs can potentially plug into those supply chains and or joint venture with the SMEs or local investors thereafter within those investment projects itself. So we do expect this to be a valuable event for SMEs as well. Minister?
Yeah. So Clint as well, I'll tell you why it's so very important for SMEs, because we really want them to transition from the micro into the small into medium. And it's very important that they have a wider view of the landscape. And as we talk about things as we speak about the Junior Stock Exchange and that kind of transition that is necessary with the right equity investments, that the exposure remains important to them, just so that they can get the full picture and they understand the transition that is absolutely necessary. And that's what we want, so that we can really see these businesses moving and growing. The economy is going to be very dependent on their growth.
And Mr. Chantak, if you would allow me to build on what President Allen and Minister Gopee-Scoon has said, that there's no investment that is too small that it would not be considered by InvesTT. InvesTT is here to support industry growth, and it certainly starts with the SMEs. And we're seeing so many new innovative SMEs out there right now. And it's encouraging to know that we have a facility such as InvesTT and the persons behind it that really hold SMEs' hand and will take them through the different processes to help them grow, help them learn about all the different opportunities that are there by the government to encourage SME growth and sustainability as well. And so this investment forum is certainly geared towards SMEs coming and learning about what options they have and how they can expand and how can they become exporters and regional trade and so on.
Let me put a little plug in there before we go to your ease of business question, Clint. Again, I want to just highlight the work of CEDA, Caribbean Export, because as you know, they have put out a program for a grant program for small businesses. And in my discussions with David Admiraj, who heads it, a Trinidadian who heads CEDA, Trinidad and Tobago small businesses are high on the uptake of these grants as well. And so I mentioned this to show the nexus of CEDA and the work and how they're connecting with countries, and the fact that our small businesses are in fact going to grow. They're going to have the opportunity to grow on behalf of, on account of this, of these additional funding arrangements from CEDA, and of course our offerings in the government as well. Now you asked something about ease of doing business. Clinton, could you just remind me of the particular aspect?
Okay, yeah, well, it's just basically that a lot of these things that you're hoping to achieve through this forum, a lot of it hinges on ease of doing business here, so that be it local or foreign business people would prefer to do business here as opposed to other destinations which we're competing with. So just wanted to get a sense as to where things are in terms of improving the ease of doing business, you know, to help attract these types of people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this digital transformation that we're talking about, and which our government has certainly bought into, and you see the evidence of it with the new ministry set up under Minister Bacchus. This is not only about the enabling environment, but it's also about these small businesses. Again, if we're talking growth and transformation, this whole question of technology is going to be a significant part of their growth, because if they are to compete in globally and in an advancing commercialized world, they have to be technology advanced. And of course, we as a government must provide that enabling digital environment. We continue with our work from all standpoints, the work of the particular ministry with responsibility for digital transformation, but also the ministry with our SEW transformation, particularly through our products, which will improve the export and import of goods in terms of the time and cost that it takes to do that. And the whole question of interoperability that I've spoken about in terms of the port and customs and the SEW and TT-BIS link. But again, you recognize the work of the government through the privatization of the port and all of the other areas that I can mention through the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs with their digital advancements. And also, of course, we recognize the Ministry of Works as well and Transport for all of their gains made. And it's the as I said before, it's the enabling environment, but also it's the recognition of by these businesses that in order to compete in a very competitive environment, they themselves must become technology transformed. So it's across the board, not just, it doesn't apply only to businesses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chantak. I don't see any other hands raised. Do we have any other questions from the media?
Yes, I just have two quick questions again. Alicia Boucher here.
Sure.
So my first question, has Conway been given a mandate in terms of...
Sorry, Alicia, just sorry to interrupt you, but your audio sounds very, very low. Can you try to raise it a bit or speak a little closer to the mic?
Okay, sure. Are you hearing me better?
A little. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question was, has Conway been given a mandate in terms of countries, specific countries that it would focus on in terms of drawing in these investors? And what is being done in terms of the promotion to ensure that local investors are also drawn to this forum? Because I know that there was a call for local investors to be drawn. Also, I wanted to find out in terms of, have we had to pay these consultants, these two consultants in particular, and what's the overall cost in terms of hosting this forum?
Thank you. If I will jump in here. Thank you for the question, Alicia. And Conway has in fact been given a mandate with respect to the geographies that they're going to be focused on. And those are aligned with the investment opportunities that we mentioned earlier and aligned to FDI projects that are actually happening within the pandemic period and that are planned for the next year. So Conway is really going to be focused on identifying investment projects and flows from geographical markets in the specific opportunities that we're looking at. So for instance, We're seeing a large amount of BPO and IT services flow from North America, looking at the region, looking at second redundant locations for their operations and or looking to enter the nearshore region. And so their awareness generation is going to be targeted at that market, particularly for that sector, and so on and so forth for the other sectors that we've shared with them. And we're doing that work to set that up right now. So while there will be overall promotion of the event, we expect that there's going to also be very tailored, targeted approaches depending on the industry. We are also looking at India from the IT services and BPO sectors as well. And then for manufacturing and hotel development, looking at the European market. So there is a specific mandate to be as focused and as targeted as possible to drive event registrations. And not to forget WavTech, who also has a mandate to generate those 10 investment leads. Again, they will be doing a long list into a short list and making those phone calls and targeting investors wherever they may be in terms of attracting them to the event and attracting meetings at the event as well. InvesTT will be promoting the event. Of course, Conway and WavTech's focus are going to be outside of Trinidad, but InvesTT will be using its local profiles, its pages, its LinkedIn, social media pages to promote the event locally as well. And in fact, we'll be working with our stakeholders and investors alike to actually participate in the event. So we expect that there's going to be wide coverage of it in terms of promotion locally, as well as very targeted coverage and promotion of it internationally. I believe there was a third question. I may have missed that one, Alicia, if you can just repeat.
Sure, it had to do with the cost, if any at all, to hire the consultants and the overall cost of hosting the forum.
The consultants themselves, we are partnering with CEDA on. CEDA would have handled the procurement of the consultants, so I wouldn't be able to speak to the overall cost of those, but we're happy to be able to work with CEDA and those consultants to drive participation. InvesTT has worked on, has generated a e-flip book, marketing collateral, as well as an up-to-date investment video that is going to be the majority of our costs for the event. And of course, we're going to be using our social media platforms to help present and disseminate those as well.
Okay, thank you, Alicia, for those questions. Any other questions from the media? Okay, if not, we'll move to wrap up now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our official launch of the Trinidad and Tobago Investment Forum. I'd like to thank our presenters, Senator the Honourable Paula Gopee-Scoon, our Chairman, Ms. Costelloe, Ms. Sonia Allyson Francis of CEDA, and our President, Mr. Allen, for their participation and sharing of valuable information on the upcoming forum. I also thank you, the media, for your attendance and for your questions. Please note that our marketing team will be sharing the media kit with you via email very shortly. And should you require any further information, please feel free to email us. The email address has been placed in the chat box so that you can copy it before you go. Once again, thank you everyone for making the time to join us this morning, and please enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to having you all help us spread the word of participation in this forum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you again.